Welcome everyone to today's video. Today we are back with another video. In this video we are going to be looking at the best Premier League team of the season and the worst. So yes, the Premier League season has concluded. We have found this is my best 11. We have a 4-3-3 formation, 4 in the back, 3 in the midfield, all generally center mids. And then up top we have a left wing, right wing, and striker. This is my best 11. I'm also going to have the managers of the team in there. Let's dive into the best team first, and then we'll head on to the worst team. So first position, goalkeeper for the best team is, of course, Alisson Becker. Alisson gets the goalkeeper spot because he did get the Golden Glove, and he just played so good. He had some amazing saves. He got nominated for some of the saves of the season. He just really did well, and he just always does so good, and rarely anything ever gets past him. And I just think he deserves credit for that. I actually think I think he did a lot better than Edison, even though they both shared the Golden Glove. I just feel like he made more saves than Edison had to make. So I think he deserves the credit for the goalkeeper position. So I'm going to choose him. For right back, I chose Alexander-Arnold. Of course, definitely one of the best defenders in the league. 100% the best right back in the league. Just amazing. He's not an amazing defender, but he's just an amazing player all around, and he plays the right back position. He's just so good at crossing and assisting, and he's like the Kevin De Bruyne of Liverpool, just not as good because he doesn't have the vision of De Bruyne, but he's just so good, and he deserves all the credit he gets. He's insane, and his career's just started, and he's already won so many trophies. So he definitely deserves that position, especially this season. I think this was one of his best seasons. Next, for our first center back, we have Van Dyke. Of course, almost everybody in Liverpool's defense deserves a spot because of just how well they did, and Van Dyke is the main man for this team. He deserves all. He doesn't let anybody pass him, and that's why he's one of the best in the world and 100% the best defender in the Premier League. It's because he never lets anybody by him. He's constantly on players, shutting everything down, not giving them a chance. And that's what you want to see from your center back, especially on a top team like Liverpool. You're going to need somebody like that, and he just did exceptionally well this season, like normal, and deserves a spot. Our other center back is actually a shock. Joel Matip I'm giving it to. You might be thinking maybe I should do Rudiger, but I thought maybe Rudiger at first, but as the season's gone on, I think Matip deserves it. I think he's done just as good as Van Dyke this season. Great defending, and he's also scored goals, and he has the same amount of goals as Grealish, which is just insane considering Matip went to Liverpool for free and Grealish got City for 100 million. So that's why I think he deserves that spot. Alright, so our last defender for the best 11 is going to be our left back, which is Cancelo. He's just, I think he's pretty underrated. People talk about how good Diaz is. I think Cancelo's way better than Diaz. He can score, he has a rocket for a foot, he's good at defending, he's great at threading the ball up to De Bruyne for sending it up top to Jesus or Sterling or whoever it is. He's definitely their best defender, and I think that him and De Bruyne are easily the best players on the team, and I think they are the only ones that deserve the credit for winning the league. Because the rest of the team are just so overrated, but they're the only ones that deserve the amount of credit they get. and Cancelo might actually be even a little underrated. And this is one of his first seasons in the Premier League. He just did amazing, and he deserves that left back spot. Now heading on to midfield, I have 3 center mids. Bowen is the first one. Bowen had an exceptionally well season. He was just insane, scoring almost every game. I feel like every time West Ham won, he scored in the game or did an assist in some form. He was involved in the goal. He just played so well, constantly feeding the ball to Antonio, and he really was just insane this season. I don't know what else to say. He was so good and he definitely deserves that spot for the center mid. My other center mid was Mason Mount. Mason Mount did really good considering he didn't even play in that many games or even start in that many games. He only started in like a little over half, and he still did amazing, got a bunch of goals. I think he should have deserved Young Player of the Season or Ramsdale. But Mason Mount just did really, really, really well and definitely deserves that spot. Just for how young he is and how good he is, and I think he deserves all the credit that he gets. If not, he deserves a little more. I feel like he might be just a little bit underrated, and I feel like he could do better than Chelsea considering he doesn't even start at Chelsea all the time. And of course, you already know, our third center mid is De Bruyne. De Bruyne, best season of his career, I think, that I've watched. He's just been so good, and he's literally the reason that City won the league. He's a center mid, and he got, what did he get? Like over 11 goals. He literally just, whenever they needed something, he was there and did it for them. Just anything they needed. If they were losing in a game, he'd just come and score 2 goals and win the game. He'd just do anything City needed to win, and I just think he was the key player in their winning of the league, and he definitely deserved that spot. Alright, so we have our 3 attackers. We're going to start off with the right wing. Obviously, Mohamed Salah got the golden boot, got most assists, was just crazy. I don't think he did as good as he did in 2018, but almost as good. Definitely his second best season, especially in the first half of the Premier League season. He was just crazy good. He would just go through team after team, annihilating them, scoring amazing goals. Definitely deserved that spot. And I just think that I have so many Liverpool players in this team, but I think they all deserve it considering how well they did and considering they played the maximum amount of games possible they could have played. Got 2 trophies, finished 1 point behind City, got to the Champions League final. I think they deserve all the credit that they get because they played midweek for like 4 or 5 months straight, which is pretty tough considering that every game is a battle and they're going to need all their starting players out. And I think Salah just did really well. He started to go down a little bit, but that's understandable. He's not going to stay the same rate the whole season, but I still think he deserves it. Our left wing is Son, the other person tied for the golden boot. He was just insane this season, scoring goals from outside the box like that one against Leicester. Just crazy good goals. Always him and Keane back and forth, assisting each other. Keane really helped out Son scoring these goals, and he was just so good all around. I actually voted for him for player of the season. He didn't win, De Bruyne did, but I think he just deserved it just as much as De Bruyne did. And I think Son had an exceptionally well season. This was definitely his best season I've ever seen him play in the Premier League or just in general. And then our striker for the best 11 is Mane. I was debating between Mane or Keane, but Mane was more consistent and I think he did better overall. The reason I don't have him on the left wing is because recently, since Diaz, he's been playing striker, so I put him there because I wanted to have Son and Mane, so this worked out pretty well. I put Mane up there. He was just so good to see. I think he was just as good as Salah this season. He came out of nowhere. Last season, he was kind of a nobody, didn't really do much. And then I think having Diaz come into the team really just made him fight for his spot more, which is a little friendly competition within the team is always good, because he wants that spot to stay in the top 11, and he wants to be in Liverpool's starting squad. And when Diaz took his spot, just because of how good Diaz is, he just couldn't. He had to step it up, and he definitely did. A huge step up from last season, and just a huge step up in his career, and that's why he might be going to Bayern. We don't know. Most likely, he'll probably be gone. So that's my best 11, and the manager that is coaching this best 11 is going to have to be Jurgen Klopp. Yes, that means I had 7 out of the 12 people chosen for the best 11 be Liverpool, just because they were so good, and come on, they definitely just have the best team in the league. Even though City wins it more, just have the best squad. Jurgen Klopp was so good, just all around, every single game doing well. I wasn't sure if I should do Klopp or Eddie Howe. This was a really tough decision for me. I didn't really know. It could have gone either way, 50-50, but just because Jurgen Klopp was there the whole season and got them to where they got with 2 trophies, Champions League final, 1 point behind City, I think they deserved it. Even though Eddie Howe came in halfway through the season and got them out of relegation. So yes, that is my best 11 right there. Comment down below what you think your best 11 is. I think that's a pretty good squad. Let me know who you'd change, who you'd get rid of, and who you'd swap with. And yeah, just let me know down below. Let's head on to the worst team of the Premier League. It's gonna get brutal. Alright, here is our worst 11 of the season. This is just who played the worst, but also like the biggest disappointments of people that were meant to be good, just didn't live up to the expectations and were just bad, and people that just played horrible. So first we're gonna start off with goalkeeper. This was a very tough decision for me, but I'm gonna have to say Tim Krul for the goalkeeper. Just, I don't know if it was the defense or him, but they just let in so many goals, and I feel like, I'm sorry, it literally, it could have gone to any of the, goalkeepers that got relegated except for Pope, just because I feel like every single goalkeeper this season did really well. Like, I don't think there was a single goalkeeper that did bad, but I have to say the worst one of the 20 goalkeepers has to be Tim Krul, just because of the amount of goals scored against him, and he didn't really do anything special. I think it was between him and Ben Foster, but Ben Foster made some good saves, and he's a good guy because I watch his YouTube channel, so I'll give it to Tim Krul. He did have a decent end to the season. I know he let in all those goals against Tottenham, but he did play well. And the reason for me choosing him might not even have to do with him. It might have to do with his defense, but still, I'm gonna have to give it to him. Right back, we're going to have to go with Emerson Royale. I know this might be a shock for some of you, considering he played most games in their journey to getting top 4, but I'm sorry. He was just terrible. I don't get how he started every game. He can't shoot for his life. He's so... I heard that he has one of the worst pass accuracies in the league. None of his balls get to the players, and he's a decent defender, but overall, like, if you go by individual categories, he's not very good. Like, not good at passing, dribbling, shooting. I think he's kind of overrated, and he's not very good at all. And that's why I'm gonna have to give him the right back position, just because he just was terrible. Alright, so first center back is going to be Michael Keane on Everton. I think he gets it just because he just had a horrendous season. He played championship level soccer the entire season. Picked it up just a little bit towards the end, but overall was just horrible because he got 2 red cards throughout the season, and he single-handedly gave up probably like half of Everton's goals, whether it was running into Mina or like whiffing the ball. I don't know what he did. Scoring own goals. How many own goals did he get? Probably scored more own goals than Salah got goals. But I don't know. He just played so bad, and like I have to put him in there because of how bad he played. The other center back I chose was obviously Maguire. He just was horrendous. I know he was trying new stuff this season, like no-look defending, but it just didn't really work out for him. He just played terrible. One of the most overrated players in the entire world of soccer. He's not that good. He's not good at all. He's terrible. He was just so bad, and I can't believe it. Literally, I don't even have to say anything. He's terrible. That's all you need to know. He just played so bad in the season, and it's actually unexcusable for how much they paid for him. And I always thought he wasn't very good, but this season he was just really bad. The left back, I had trouble choosing the left back. No left backs did like outstandingly terrible this season, but I went with Junior Firpo because I personally had really high expectations for him. I picked him in the fantasy draft. He came from Barcelona. He was Leeds' big signing. I thought he'd be a really big deal, and I thought he would help Leeds like stay up. Like when he got brought in, I thought he'd be the one that helped Leeds finish higher than they ever have before, because their weakest thing was their defense, and he just did not live up to expectations at all whatsoever. He just played really bad every game, and he did do okay as the season went on. He improved slightly, but just never really too good. It almost cost Leeds getting relegated, but they stayed up, and that's who I chose for left back. Now heading on to midfield, we have Granit Xhaka in center back. We all know why. Getting 2 red cards this season, basically costing Arsenal 2 games from those red cards. He just played so bad every game, and he's always just been a bad player, but this season especially, just, I don't know, it was pretty bad. And like I think this is like the most starts he's ever had, because there was a lot of injuries and stuff with Arsenal. So the fact that he played this much and still did this bad is unexcusable. And I don't think anyone on Arsenal really likes him, so I had to put him in there. Our other one is Billy Gilmore for Norwich. He was supposed to be the big hit for Norwich, and he came from Chelsea, a young player on loan. I just thought he would do amazing for Norwich, because he was apparently supposed to be really good when he was on Chelsea, and I had big hopes for him, but he wasn't bad, he just didn't do anything special, and this was more of a disappointment than a bad season, but he just didn't play very good in any sort of aspect of the game anywhere. And I don't think he played bad, he just didn't do anything special, and I had to put him in there because of what his expectations were and what the reality was. Alright, so our other center mid is Fernandes. Fernandes, I was telling you guys from the beginning of the season that I don't like Fernandes, and he's not that good. Well, this is what I'm proving to you. Fernandes in the worst 11 of the team, he literally did absolutely nothing all season, considering how well he did last season and how much people like talked about him last season, and the only reason he was talked about was because that's the only player that was decent on Man United. Ronaldo comes in, Fernandes is a nobody, doesn't do anything because Ronaldo does it all himself because the rest of the team's terrible. But Fernandes, he just didn't have a good season. That's all I can say. And he's there for sentiment. Now heading on to attackers. Top 3 worst attackers. I'm going to start with right wing. I'm going to put Gudmundsson for Burnley. I didn't really know who to choose for right wing, but considering how well Gudmundsson had been doing the past few seasons, like last season and the season before, he was easily Burnley's best player. He was just really good, and he was the standout player. But this season, he was just a nobody, didn't really do anything, wasn't too good. I don't know. I just don't think I think he deserves a spot. I didn't really know who else to put there, and I chose him just because of how well he had done in the past and then what he did this season, so that was a disappointment. For our left wing, we have £100 million Jackie G. Jack Grealish, I'm putting in left wing. I love the guy. I used to love him. I used to love him when he was on City, but for the amount of money they wasted for how terrible he was, I had to put him in there just because of how bad he was and how much he did not deserve the 100 million tag. So I just had to put him in there. Just look at his stats. He didn't deserve that. He just didn't do good at all. And then our striker for the worst 11, Lacazette, considering he was the striker, the starting striker for most of the season on Arsenal for a top 5 club, and he only got like 6 goals or something. That's just unexcusable. He didn't do good whatsoever. He didn't do bad, he just didn't do very good in general, and I just couldn't put him in there. I couldn't not put him in there. The only other one might have been Rondon, but he didn't have enough games. And then the worst manager of the season, Roy Hodgson, came in to save Watford's hopes and just basically crushed them. Didn't care one bit at all, and that was just terrible. Alright, that's my worst 11 and best 11. Thanks guys for watching. See you in the next one.